That's right, everyone. It is the one and only Eva Palacio.
What's up?
Who I personally identify as an influencer, a motivational speaker, even though she don't claim it. But that's what it is. That's what it is. Miss Eva is here, and, we had lunch God, doesn't seem like it was that long, about 4 weeks ago. But the conversation was so awesome. I said, you know what? This conversation needs to go live on the air. So today we're going to be talking about women in business and leadership positions and how it is true. You can have it all, ladies. You can have it all as a motivational speaker, an influencer, a leader, and how to balance that. So the great one, the only one, Miss Eva. What's up? Where we going to start at?
Thank you. Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. This is crazy. I feel famous.
No, she did.
I love it. Yeah, we had an amazing lunch.
Yes.
And it's so crazy because, I love social media. And I just remembered a time way back when your name was just in my ear. Oh, you got to connect with Kim. She's
Right.
amazing. And, you could only get so much from certain people on social media that you have to meet with people.
Right.
And I don't know. Somebody said something and I'm like, I got to meet with you. We got to do lunch.
Right.
We got to get it together and meet. And sure enough, we got together for lunch and
It happens.
an hour later, we're like, holy smokes, we got to get to our next appointment. Like that's how
Right.
quick the conversation went, but it was phenomenal.
Absolutely.
It was awesome.
Absolutely. And I just have so much respect for you. Even more now, just understanding your journey and something that I took away from that conversation is as women and moms and being married and having those commitments and still being successful is challenging. It's challenging.
Yeah.
And so the purpose of the show is to instill hope and empowerment and motivation for other women who are out there, because there's a lot of great things that are happening in Stockton.
Yes.
A lot of great women, a lot of movers and shakers. And so I always tell people it gets real in these conversations. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about balancing being a woman.
That right there is probably the number one word frequently used in my brain is balance.
Yes.
Because it's so easy to get off track. And as women, it's so easy to feel some type of way where if you're not 110 for your spouse or for your children or for your job or for whatever, we always put us on the back burner.
Absolutely.
And you don't have to.
Absolutely.
You don't have to. It literally does take balance. And honestly, I think it just really has a lot to deal with being in the right circle as well. The right environment, the right people that have that balance in their lives too, so that you can learn from them. And that's why there's mentors and coaches and leaders that are out there. You just got to find a way to lock arms with those special people and learn to see how they're doing it. Because, think about it. Look at all the successful people there are in the world.
Yes.
They have it all. They have it all. Why
Right.
can't we have it all?
And you said something very key in that statement about the balancing, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't know if anyone is like me. I'm like this. The balancing is like, you're kind of like struggling and you know what I mean? And so balancing without feeling guilty.
Yes.
Because there are so many times where like you really commit yourself. For instance, I came in and immediately before Edward even said, hi, how you doing, Kimberly? I was like, I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to do this. I got to do that. Keep in mind, it's only 7. So I have other commitments tonight. And I'm like, oh, my God, I don't know how I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
But, Edward kind of redirected my laundry list with, how you doing today?
Let's take a breath.
Oh, wait.
Take a breath.
How am I doing today? Like,
What's today? Yeah.
And being very intentional with that self-care. So,
Yes.
and it's so funny because I've been meaning to reach out to you today just to say, hey, what's up? Like, what's going on with our conversation? But I'm just going to go back to your post when you said that you were in bed, like, unapologetically watching Lifetime.
And it's crazy because my husband will tell you, like, she don't ever watch TV. Like, I'm like, TV will suck you in.
Right.
And by the time you know it, it's like work tomorrow.
Right.
And, and sometimes we need that self-care.
Yes.
Sometimes you just need to unplug from everything and just soak in whatever makes you happy. Go to your happy place.
Right.
And if it wasn't for family coming over for the holidays and sticking the TV on, and now Lifetime's on, and now there's Christmas and love stories and family, it sucked me in today.
Right. But, it's so crazy because just the bare thought of watching TV was like, dang, I'm hella jealous. Oh,
Right?
Just
Right.
watching TV? Like,
2 hours, 4 hours of just
watching
nothingness.
TV.
But you need that. You need that. I mean, especially me, like, I'm go, go, go. I'm like,
Right.
I got 1,000 things to do. I got people to take care of. I got to do this, and this, and this. And it's so funny because, like, Thanksgiving yesterday, I actually thought was last Thursday because they switched it up on us.
Yeah, that's true.
It used to
That's
be the
true.
third Thursday.
Right, that's true.
And they moved
I
it.
thought I was the only one who noticed that. I was like, wait a minute, why is it so late?
Right? Oh, man. And then so yesterday I thought was Friday. Today feels like a Sunday. Like I have no clue what day we're on. But you need that self-care, whether it's just been watching a few episodes, whether it's, going out and just window shopping, whether it's
Right.
a movie, a coffee date. It's so crazy because like back, in my younger days, I would always think to myself, man, I don't think I could ever like go to a restaurant and eat by myself or go have coffee by myself or go to a movie by myself.
Right.
But now that I'm grown, I'm like, I would rather be by myself, peace and quiet and no drama, just to get into my own zone so that I could revamp for the next day.
And be unapologetic to that. Because
Absolutely.
even, we're talking about just being a woman. We're not even talking about being a mom and being a partner. It's like going to the movies by yourself and going to get coffee by yourself is so real. Like,
Yeah.
that is a very
Me time.
me time.
Me
Just
time.
get your life together, your thoughts together.
A drive
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah. So I have a funny story to share with you. Sometimes my me time is in my car. And so, I got my big old car. So you can hear me going down the street like a block away. And so I remember pulling up, and I'm sure my kids can hear my car. And so they're all like out the window, like, oh, mom's home. And I'm looking at them like this in the window. Oh, my, I wonder if she has ice. I wonder if she brought some food. I wonder if this, I wonder if that.
What's mom got?
What does she have? And I remember I just started to honk the horn when they started to approach my car. Like a long, like, boom. And they're like, what? I'm like, go in the house. They're like, what? Go in the house. Like, I need a minute to gather my thoughts, gather my emotions, my feelings, process and purge me.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to come and find out who got more Kool-Aid,
Who didn't do the dishes?
who didn't do the dishes, who got 5 minutes more on the Xbox, who needs something from the Dollar Tree, like the balancing and the boundary that you need to set.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's really important, especially if you've got kids or a spouse, is to have those conversations. It's so easy for us to assume they know we need time But no, we can't do that.
Right.
You got to have those conversations and sit down and say, okay, this week, this is what's going on. Or tomorrow, this is what's happening. My youngest was like, Mom, are we going to go shopping? Are we going to go shopping? I'm like, we are definitely not going shopping this weekend. Out of all weekends, heck no.
Right.
The anxiety. And it's so crazy because before we got here, I was like, I can't remember the last time I went Black Friday shopping. It must have been 4 years ago. And I can't deal with the crazy chaos of everything. Being on my phone and just buying whatever I can get online, like that is my heaven. That is my peace.
Right. And sometimes, and again, we need those things. Yeah. And have you ever I had a friend one time, and she posted something that was hilarious on Facebook. But it was real. She posted a meme, and it was a woman on the toilet, and like the one child like peeping in, and the other one on the phone.
And there's a dog,
And it just made me think about what you were saying about the anxiety that sometimes comes along with those pressures. Are we going shopping? What am I getting? Like, oh my God, even my 4-year-old talks about Christmas and Black Friday. I'm just like, whoa. Yeah. Which I was guilty of going for like maybe an hour or two because I had just gotten off work from the ER. But it's like, no.
Yeah.
Set some time for yourself, ladies and gentlemen, and those boundaries and expectations with your kids.
Absolutely.
Because it's okay to say no.
Yes, and that's what's really hard, especially for me. I am such a people pleaser. I'm like, yes, 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 and I'm like, oh man, what did I commit to? Dang.
Yeah.
But you have to love yourself enough to love your people, to tell them no, especially if you can't give 110.
Right.
And that's like me, like the type of person that I am, I have to be 110. If I'm not 110, then it's not gonna be justice for you or myself.
Right.
And that's super important because as a woman, I think as a woman, mom, spouse, caregiver, you want to be able to help everybody. But you have to really ask yourself at what sacrifice of your own happiness.
Absolutely. And with those boundaries, putting that time for yourself too, because sometimes we can run ourselves raggedy because we're trying to, we're just talking about our inner supports. What about our friends and communities that sometimes are tapping on as well? It's like, that's why that me time is crucial and very extremely important. And again, with being a woman is finding that balance.
Yeah.
And it's an art. It's a discipline. It's a
very
to say no, and I don't know why. No is universal in every language.
Yes.
But very difficult to say.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when it comes time to your own commitments.
Yeah.
And satisfying others. I guess it's just because maybe it's just in human nature for people to not tell people no because they don't want to feel bad or feel like they're in the wrong. But it's so important. I mean, just think about, like, if you really think about everything as a whole, I mean, think about, how many people work 1, 2, 3 jobs.
Yes.
Or work the night shift when the world is going around during the day, and then getting kids off to school and then homework. You think of all of that, right? And then you've got jobs. Think about, like, people who don't take vacations.
Right.
And because of the society that we're in and because of the lifestyles that we have, so many people don't take vacations because they need to work or they need the money. So then you have to really realize, what is that doing to you when you don't have that mental break? People don't take vacations because they don't want to come back to work with piles and piles of more work, or they can't afford to take a vacation because, they just financially can't. But there's a reason why workplaces have vacation time, is so that you can unwind, unplug, detach yourself from all of that and reset. If you don't do that, that's gonna definitely mess with you and for your family and those that are around you.
Absolutely. There was an article I read on Facebook not too long ago, and it talked about how Americans almost feel guilty when they request vacation time for their employer.
Do you know, out of the entire world, who has the most mandatory vacations?
Sweden.
Europeans.
Yep. Oh, well, yeah, and their lunchtime.
Yes.
They don't work on Fridays, and I think their lunch period is like 12 to 2:30 on a mandatory.
Yeah. But look at how happy they are.
I know.
Look at how happy they are, and their kids, and just the lifestyle. And you go there, and everybody's just so cheerful.
Yeah.
And hey, let's do this, and like everybody is just so willingly to do everything because they're just much better human beings because of the self-care.
Psychological care is real.
Yeah,
It's real, and even in other countries. So Sweden, that's later on in my career, that's something I really want to investigate and research is self-care, and how the economy and having the ability to like pay for your insurance and medical and stuff, how that really affects your whole psychological mindset and or frame.
Yeah.
But again, we're at this place because many of us do. I work 2 jobs and do other things,
and mom and everything.
Yeah. And sometimes it is hard to say no.
Yeah.
But man, when you start saying no and or setting that boundary, you feel so much better.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
And even though I didn't go somewhere where I really would love to, I did go somewhere for a week, and it really felt good. And I had to tell myself, like, listen, when you need this, and when you get back to work, everything that you're thinking about is gonna be there. Nothing's going anywhere.
Yeah.
But again, it's like we have to readjust the way that we are thinking.
Absolutely.
To ensure that we are healthy beings. Because when mama's out.
Oh, mom's out, everybody's out.
Oh, the whole family.
Crazy.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
crazy.
Kids may not get picked up. Dinner may not be made.
No.
Doctor's appointments may not happen.
And you know, and something that goes along with this too, and it's funny because I have multiple conversations with all kinds of my peers on Facebook. And what goes along with this is never being afraid to pass the torch.
Yes.
My kids at a very young age, I mean, just about when they can reach the buttons on the washing machine is when they learn how to do their own laundry. So they do the laundry. They even do our laundry. Like they do me and my husband's laundry, and they'll lay it out. They won't put it away because they don't know where things go. But they'll wash it for us. They'll dry it for us, and they'll lay it out for us. And I don't never have to remind them to do their laundry. And just as parents, like you have to, I mean, as moms, we definitely want to caregive and love on our kids. But at the same time, I always think, okay, if I were to go to heaven tomorrow, are my kids going to survive in this world?
Right.
Are they going to know how to do the basic essentials around a house to help them get by? Because I can't rely on anybody else to show them the way. So it's okay to teach, our children and even those around us, whatever gifts we have, pass the torch and give them that gift of whatever knowledge or superpower you have, because as a community, and that's where the whole, environment that you're in, being in a positive environment, motivating environment, and an environment where there's leaders taking action, all of that is just going to spread and sprinkle on you. That's going to help empower you to think differently and live differently.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And that is something that is really deeper than that as well. Yeah. Because you think about it, when your kids have kids, guess what they're going to be teaching their kids, because of what you have instilled in them is the benefits of hard work and commitment and consistency. And so, this is a huge topic that I've had on this show for quite some time, is parenting. Yeah. and how we're building generations of leaders and generations of communities, and on a smaller scale, we're building men and women who will later have relationships. And so and I'll tell you, what you learn directly in your environment and your home will determine how you take that in the real world. Yeah. So are they able to cook? Are they able to fend for themselves? Are they able to, what are they able to do? Mm-hmm. So you got to have a balance, because you can't enable them. And I know, like, for like my daughter, she's about to be 18 in 2 weeks.
Oh.
Right?
I am an 18-year-old, yeah.
But in a lot of ways, I've enabled her, because she's barely learning how to cook. She is cooking, but it wasn't until like the last 3 years I've been on her about cooking and watching YouTubes and, kind of
YouTube.
Yeah.
Thank God for YouTube.
Listen, if you can YouTube the music videos and how to do your eyebrows, girl, you better get down there and YouTube how to make some chicken or something.
That's right. My son's car, my dad gave my son a 92 Cadillac Eldorado.
Oh, right.
And it just doesn't turn on. And I'm like, well, you better YouTube it. Like, YouTube, make and model, pop the hood, let's check the fluids. And he's like, but I don't know how. YouTube it.
YouTube
Figure it out.
is a lifesaver.
Yeah.
But there you go. A continuum of instilling these disciplines and what do you call it? Like, not fact finding, solutions, strategies to find solutions.
Absolutely.
Google it.
Yeah.
YouTube it.
Yeah. Ask
research
a friend. Phone a friend.
Ask a friend.
Yeah.
Ask a friend. But I feel like now she's at a point where at least she's cooking. Yeah. But those are conversations that we as parents have to continue to have with our kids.
Absolutely.
For the betterment of our community. So excellent. I love it. I love it.
Absolutely. It's so important. So important. And I think sometimes, me and my husband do it on purpose, where we don't teach them. We just say, here, figure it out and let's see like what their thought process is. And if it's right, great. If not, then we can correct.
Right.
But, and it's so funny because, being a, self-employed business owner, I'm always on the go and I'm always traveling. Me and my husband both are. And my son's like, I'm just going to Grubhub everything and have food delivered. I'm like, no, you are not. If you're going to do anything, you're going to do Instacart and have groceries delivered. Right. And then you're going to cook the groceries. Well, guess what? Bacon and eggs and quesadillas and all kinds of stuff he knows how to make.
There you go.
And I didn't teach him. He just figured out on his own. But what happens? It's either I cook and eat or I starve.
Pretty much. Pretty much. I love Instacart, by the way.
Yes. Genius.
It really is.
And it's so crazy because I had always thought to myself, man, I am never going to be too busy to go get my own groceries. But it's the peace of mind, guys. Like, the way that I think, it's like, okay, think of how much time it takes to drive to the grocery store, get all of the groceries, then put it on the conveyor belt or do self-checkout, and then load it all up, and then come back home. Like, that to me is 2 hours.
Oh, man. And
it's crazy.
Coming from Western Ranch, where we don't have that many, we only have Food for Less. Yeah. And so I drive from Western Ranch to Winco. Yeah. Load it all up, bag it.
And you got to at Winco because they don't bag nothing for you. It's everything.
And it's a big old store that you got to walk around.
Yeah.
And then I got to drive back home and then take it out and put it up.
Yeah.
But Instacart has been in heaven sent.
Absolutely. And especially if you have those busy schedules and busy times where you're like, oh my goodness, there's no milk or there's no cereal, there's no this. I mean, I love Instacart. Yeah. And there's times even like if you're a Costco member, they will like literally deliver within the hour. Like that's how crazy quick it could be. And that's definitely been a lifesaver for us many times because I'm just like, I would better be served, working my craft for 2 hours than going to the grocery store and doing all of that craziness. I'd rather just pay a couple, extra bucks for somebody and support the stay-at-home mom or support the person that's trying to hustle to draw in an extra income.
Absolutely. And at the same time, the gas that you save. So
Yep.
the fee is like
There you
gas.
go. Yeah.
So you're paying.
And gas prices. Don't even get started on gas prices.
I know it. I know it. And like you said, you're helping someone who's trying to make ends meet by Instacarting or what is it, Grubhub?
DoorDash. Yep.
So it's a win-win.
Yeah.
And I liked, one time I did it last week for the Instacart, and I ordered everything from my desk right before I got off. And then when I got home, 15 minutes, boom.
There. Voila.
There it is.
Voila.
And guess what? I don't have that urge to go to fast food or whatever. Because now you have.
Or even going to the grocery store and buying things you don't really need.
Oh, that's true too. So
it helps you budget and save.
Very structured and intentional and specific.
Yes. So when you really think about that system, I mean, that right there is a form of happiness.
Yeah.
Because you're not stressed. Oh, I got to go do this. I got to do this. Oh, man. And then I got to come home and then I got to cook and all of that.
Right. And I don't know if you're like me, but sometimes when I get home and I haven't, so I might say, okay, I'm going to go home. I'm going to sit on the couch for a few minutes and whatever. And then by the time, that few minutes is gone. Yes. So now it's like, okay, Eddie's or Mountain Mike's or Domino's. Which one is it?
Yeah.
So it does give you a very intentional purpose for that Instacart. So
sure does.
I love it.
Yes.
So what other tips can we talk about for women and women in business and leadership roles?
I think it's super important now more than ever. I mean, if you really are paying attention to everything that's happening, in the world or just even in our environment, there's a lot more moms taking action. There's a lot more stay-at-home moms that have their own businesses earning an income, and I'm super proud of that because there's been so many times that I've had conversations with people, with moms that feel that guilt of I don't feel that I'm enough raising these babies, even though we all know you're a super mom if you got multiple babies at home.
Right.
But there's that little sense of guilt that they're not supporting financially to the household. And you really have to just get that out of your head because you have to really think about it. Okay, financial support, you can go to work and get a job and get paid, but then who's going to raise your babies?
Right.
And how much is that going to cost for them to raise your babies?
Ooh, that's a big question.
Right? But now with everything that's happening, you've got the Uber, the DoorDash, the Lyft. You've got all kinds of different ways to earn an income from home that I love seeing a lot more women owning up to that and really taking that on regardless of what adversity is being, faced. And that's huge because, there's a lot of women out there that feel that they're only good to be stay-at-home moms and that's it.
Right. I was just having a conversation with a friend of mine about that because now we are at a time not only with the entrepreneurship, but there's abilities to work like graveyard and knock shift.
Yeah.
I did that. That is how I got through school and still had the ability to do things in the daytime. It was crazy. Mm-hmm. But one thing that I will encourage women to do, I call it the crazy lady effect. So that's that psychological voice that always kinds of, hovers over women when they have the courage to say, I want to be more than a stay-at-home mom. I want to be a business owner and a leader.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes, let's just face it, like, sometimes society puts a little more obstacles and barriers in the way of women through childcare.
Yeah.
My childcare has been literally a mortgage.
It's tough.
Through having multiple kids that go to multiple schools.
Oh.
So, like for me, I have one that needs to be at school at 7:30, and then I have two that have to be at school 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
And one that goes to preschool. So guess what? 4 different time slots, similar one side of town and the other.
Yeah.
So how do you balance that? You know what I mean? And then you yourself as a woman, you feel like you're inadequate or you don't have what it takes to be that leader or to be that entrepreneur. And so I think that's why it's so important that we support one another.
Yes.
And not just by conversation. Share a post.
Absolutely.
Give a shout out.
Shout out. I love shouting out. Shout outs, posts, just liking
a page, referring a customer.
Absolutely. And also, like, don't I know for me, this is my biggest thing is sometimes I'm afraid to ask for help.
Oh,
don't be afraid to ask for help. Yes. I mean, my 3 boys at one time, all 3 different schools, elementary, middle, and high. And it was a mess in the morning. And now trying to change the school start time at 8 o'clock, that's going to be even crazier. And that's a whole nother ball of wax. But don't be afraid to ask for help. There's other, not everybody works 8 to 5. So just, be friends with the parents of your children's friends. And hey, can you pick up this time? And I'll pick up this time. If you pick up, I'll drop off. Like, whatever you can do to help support another, and at the same time, never being afraid to ask for help. There's so many people in this world that are like, heck yeah, I'll help. Right. Heck yeah, I'm in groups, and somebody will ask for something, and then 100 people are like, I got it here. And I'm like,
right.
That is amazing. That's amazing, and that's what we need. We need a community of people that's just willing to help out, but at the same time, not sacrifice your own happiness. But hey, if it's on the way, or your kid is at the same school, as my kid, absolutely, I'll be happy to pick them up and drop them off. But yeah, never be afraid to ask for help, because you cannot do it all. You don't want to do it all by yourself.
Absolutely not.
You don't want to do it all by yourself.
And that's the essence of community as well.
Yes.
Is helping your neighbors, supporting your neighbors. Because we all are pretty much one paycheck away.
Yeah.
Or one circumstance away.
Absolutely.
From not being able to meet our day-to-day obligations. And so I'm totally for that. I totally support that.
And there's so many groups on Facebook. Like, I'm just searching for groups. There's groups. You got favorite color purple group? I'm sure it's out there. But there's groups that are just out there that are just willing to just, share ideas, and it's all about community. It's all about, putting yourself in the right environment. If you got to get your finances together, you got to get, in front of the right people, the right mentors, read the right books. If it's help with your relationship, with your marriage, you got to, get into those types of groups, parenting groups, entrepreneurial groups, like whatever is your passion or whatever you need help with, find the community, because they're out there and they're amazing.
Tap in, everyone. Tap in. That is so important.
Yeah.
And tap in, being unapologetic for that, because a lot of times too, people are like, oh, well, I don't want to be judged, or I don't want to ask, or I feel guilty. Like, there needs to be more community and more sense of unity, because we all need it,
And the crazy part is, there's a reason they have those groups, is because they're not there to judge. They're there to empower, uplift you, guide you, share stories. You might be, in essence, having the same situation as somebody else who just dealt with that a month ago, a year ago, and they might have solutions for you. And that's why, me and what I teach my kids is, you got to be picky with your circles. You got to be picky with who you let into your environment. It's so crazy, because the other day I was having a conversation with my husband, and I'm like, I just got off the phone with this person, and I could easily tell that they are just super aggravated. And I'm like, and just the tone of their voice gave me anxiety. I'm like, I don't want to talk to that person no more. They hurt my ears. But it's crazy how what can happen when you literally are changing your environment for the better, or for whatever your goals are, and you can get to those goals so much faster because of having the right people in your circle.
Absolutely. And not being afraid to make the decision to continue a relationship, or I'm not saying like totally shutting them down, but maybe putting them in, I like drop them in an island over here.
Yeah.
Because they're, you have a certain energy within yourself.
Yeah.
And people have a certain energy about them. Oh. And sometimes those energies do not mix.
They don't. There's a reason why there's the zodiacs and the red, blue, greens and just the different personality traits. I mean, we are all different. But at the same time, you got to find the right people to work with that's going to really feed into you to make you a better person.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that is really when we talk about influencer. So that earlier today, I identified Eva as an influencer, and the reason I did that was because your energy is so real and calming and nurturing and supportive, and that's what we need in our community to build people up.
Yeah.
Because one thing that I will say about you that I've noticed, because we've been friends on Facebook, but until you really have a conversation, you understand what I mean by that.
Yeah.
Like
everybody's a Facebook friend. Yeah. But who's a real friend?
Right. And who's able to kind of put you in that element, right? Because sometimes, again, that crazy lady effect, right? That kind of, this is the crazy lady effect, and everybody knows I'm a therapist, so I ain't got to go into all that. But sometimes it's your inner conscious that kind of plays tricks in your mind that maybe tells you that you're less than. Right? And it gives you that crazy lady effect, may try to influence you to not achieve your goals or, you feel less than.
Yeah.
Well, your influencer, your mentor, and your motivator, those are the people that pick you up.
Yes.
That build you up. And they can really care less about what it is that you're doing. Like, I don't know, you want to be the best chocolate chip cookie baker in the world.
Yeah.
Well, it's not about the chocolate chip cookies and what you're baking. It's the fact that that person is helping build you up to your fullest potential.
Absolutely.
And everybody doesn't have that skill set. But my girl Eva does.
Aw, thank you. And that, I mean, 6-7 years ago, that wasn't who I was. And that's the crazy part. I mean, when you're in a certain environment, sometimes you're in a box.
Yeah.
And not until you meet certain people and you start listening to them and following them and getting coached by them, and then all of a sudden now you're in a whole different environment. Yeah. And I absolutely love the environment that I've been in for the past 6 years, because they don't teach you these things in school. They teach you to go to school, get a good job, stay there forever till you retire, being at the same job, hating your coworkers because they're all mean, your boss, it's drama. But when you start really getting out the box and linking up with people that have the business mindset, the entrepreneurial mindset, it's a whole different world. And it's definitely a level of uplifting, motivating. I mean, there's a reason why there's coaches for everything. I mean, there's coaches for sports, there's coaches for business, there's coaches for the gym, there's coaches for everything. And I just remember, like, way back when, it was kind of like, no, don't go to a coach, because then it's like, well, you can't think for yourselves. Now I'm like, everybody needs a coach. Right. Everybody should have a coach for everything, because if you're not the professional in that area, then you need a professional to help you. And there is so nothing wrong with that. It's amazing.
Absolutely.
When you can link up with some really smart people and just help them guide you to wherever you want to be.
And I think that a lot of times people minimize that.
Yeah.
And they may feel less than because of, reaching out or seeking that additional support and guidance.
Yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with it.
Heck no. I got a coach to get my fitness on. Yeah. I got my business coach, speech coach.
Right.
I mean, I'm proud to have all these coaches, because I'm like, you know what? One day I'm going to be a super hero because of all these coaches.
And you know what? And if you think of a lot of the leaders and influencers, the
actors have coaches that teach them how to act.
I'm trying to tell you.
Like,
I'm trying to
Denzel.
tell you. Right.
Denzel. Who loves
Oprah
Denzel?
Winfrey.
Oprah, yes. I mean, come on. They didn't just
Barack Obama.
grew up and
Right.
became awesome. They all got help.
Like a fine wine,
Yes.
kind of age and life and circumstances.
Yeah.
And with that being said, it's really important that you reach back out. You reach back out.
Yeah.
And so, like, when I got my my license, that was my number one thing that I wanted to do, was reach back out to communities and individuals who were couldn't afford therapy. And like, I've been doing this for a year.
Wow.
And many of those individuals and survivors are doing so well. They don't even need me anymore.
And you know
The
what's
job's done.
you know what's so crazy? People are so crazy to say, I can't afford a coach,
Yeah.
when they don't even know how much a coach costs. Like, you can't sit there and say, oh, I can't afford it. Oh, it's too expensive. Because if you've never actually, like, sat down with somebody to know what they charge, then you can't. But at the end of the day, you still can't put a price tag on becoming a better individual at whatever you're seeking.
Right.
So
And that's
invest in yourself.
That's what I was about to say.
Invest in yourself.
Boom. That is an investment.
Absolutely.
And one of my good friends, shout out to Mary Holloway, since we're talking about shouting out to people.
Yes.
One of the things that she has, her consistent message for me about me and my own journey and process, is to be consistent.
Yes. Oh, yes.
To be consistent. And that little voice about being consistent it always sticks with me.
Yeah.
Always.
Absolutely.
And so.
And do what you say you're going to do.
Oh, yes.
Do what you say you're going to do. It's so easy to commit and then have it fall through because you're letting life just take you in all these directions. But think about how many times, I know for me, there's been a number of times where I'm like, okay, I'm going to attend that event. And then like 3 hours before the event starts, I'm like, oh no, I can't attend the event. But I'm like, you know what? I said I was going to do it, so I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And then I go to the event and I'm like, I am so glad I came. Like, imagine if I didn't come, I would have missed out on all of this.
Right.
So it's super important to do what you say you're going to do and be consistent.
And in investing in yourself is that's
yes.
huge.
Yes.
What you just said about investing in yourself, and that, I think that crazy lady effect.
Yeah.
Sometimes as women, we will put everything else before that.
You will
And
go
not-
and spend money on crazy materialistic things that aren't going to be valuable to you
Yeah.
few months or a few years later. But education, like crazy as it may sound, like we didn't do the whole Black Friday thing. I bought the boys clothes at Old Navy because they were doing some really cool sales, and you know,
Yeah.
I'm like, the best time to go back to school shopping is during Christmas time.
It really is.
Right? And but honestly, I was actually looking at my mentors. I have like a few mentors that I follow on social media, and I was looking at their programs. And they're doing like 50, 75% off their mentorship programs. And I'm like, man, they're like, that's like, one, the best deal ever. But two, that's a price tag investing in myself, investing in our business, investing in those around me, because I know putting money into that is going to make me a better individual, which in turn is going to rub off on anybody who's around me, because I'm going to spread that knowledge too.
Right.
And that, don't feel guilty about spending money on that stuff, because that, in essence, is going to get you to where you want to be.
Right. And I'm going to just circle back to that balancing piece as
Yes.
well. And how many times realistically do we have like a Starbucks every single day?
Yeah.
Like, no, I didn't. I did buy this at Black Friday. It's only there for 2 hours, but I brought like it had like 20 of those meal preppers on there. So I said that moving forward, starting next week, when I go back to work, I'm going to start taking my lunch.
Yes.
And start balancing a little more so that I can have more to invest in myself. So it really, we have to be intentional and purposeful
Absolutely.
in our decisions moving forward. And as business owners, entrepreneurs, and leaders, investing in yourself to continue to ensure that your career is going to the next level.
Yes,
Like
absolutely.
no one, whoever says, I just want to get to this level and that's it.
No. You get there and you want to go more.
Right.
You're like, okay, I got there. Now what's next?
Right.
What's next?
No one just says, like,
Yeah.
I'm done. I don't want to promote. I don't want to invest in myself. More like investment.
And it's so funny because I had attended a conference last weekend, and the speaker, he said, you should be living your life with the what's next attitude.
Ooh, that's a good one.
What's next? So once you reach that goal, okay, what's next? Once your kids, graduate high school, what's next?
Right.
Once you promote at that job, what's next? Like, that's how you should be living your life. What's next attitude, so that you can have that growth and the satisfaction of, okay, I got here, what's next?
Right. And that's so key. And so I really hope that this conversation has enlightened
Yes.
and empowered and inspired someone out there.
I hope so, because you can have whatever you want. You can have whatever you want. It starts with the self-care.
Yes.
It starts with changing your environment, and that could just be, to the what you're listening to, what you're watching, what you're reading, who you're hanging out with. It could start with changing your diet, eating better, not eating out so much, but prepping the lunch from home and eating better, because when you eat better or you work out, you feel better.
It's all intersectional.
Everything
Everything is intersectional, and it all contributes to wellness.
Yes.
And loving yourself and being intentional. Have what did you say? A what's next attitude.
Yes.
I love it.
Absolutely. 2020. What's next?
Oh, boom, 2020.
Oh, yes.
All right.
But yeah, thank you.
Oh, no problem.
This is amazing.
Any shout outs? Who do you want to give some shout outs to, since we talked
man.
about recognizing businesses and influencers and leaders?
I just shout out to everybody who follows me on Facebook, who inspires me on Facebook. We've got some really great community leaders here just in Stockton. There's so many people, from, my eye doctor, from my mortgage lender, from my banker, from amazing people that are, in council, in the public eye. Like, all of you as a community, we talk about how powerful it is to like, share, and comment and uplift, where that very little gesture can go a long way to people.
Absolutely.
And, I just want to shout out you, Kim, for being awesome and inviting me here. But most importantly, everybody that just continues to motivate me through social media and empower me so that I can be able to give back to the community. And I've got some big goals for 2020.
We'll be looking for you.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. And yeah, I just want to be able to empower a lot of people out there that just think that they could only do this much, but really there's so much more capability in them. They just don't know it, or they haven't found the right energy around them to get them to that next level. So yeah, shouts out to everybody, and it's going to be exciting.
I appreciate you, and I'm very hopeful of everything that's to be coming in 2020. I'm looking forward to it myself, and of course, watching your growth and giving back to the community as you always do. Thank you so much for coming by.
Yes.
Hoping that it touches. I'm going to put the positive voodoo, the positive vibes out to you
The feng
all.
shui.
Woo!
The feng shui. Yes.
So, thank you for stopping by.
Absolutely.
And to the
Absolutely.
viewers, you heard it first, live with Kimberly on KBCCC, the voice of San Joaquin, and we are on 89.5 on the FM radio, Tracy, California. Thank you for tuning in. Vacation time is over, so you will see me again next Friday with a new special guest talking about a very important topics, because all topics are important. We'll see you soon. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Have a nice evening. Stay safe. Love, peace.